Welcome to the Alcohol Reset, the podcast that helps you reset your habits, health, and relationship with alcohol without judgment or extremes. If you're looking to cut back, take a break, or just understand how drinking can affect your body and mind, you're in the right place. Each episode brings you science-backed insights on neuroscience, nutrition, and habit change to help you feel better, sleep deeper, and take control on your terms. I'm Mike Hardenbrook, best-selling author, neuroscience enthusiast, and habit change expert. I've helped thousands through my book and podcast to rethink their drinking, and now I'm here to help you do the same. Let's get started. Today, we're taking a close look at something I know a lot of us have considered out, how to feel better, maybe, without making massive, life-altering changes. I'm talking about this idea, intermittent sobriety. Intentionally taking breaks from alcohol. If you've ever thought about wanting more energy or clearer thinking, or maybe just breaking that habit of a regular drink, well, this exploration is definitely for you. So let's get right into it. What is intermittent sobriety? It's really pretty straightforward. It's about consciously choosing periods where you don't drink alcohol. And this isn't about some forever commitment, right? It's more about setting specific times, maybe no alcohol during the week, perhaps taking on a month like dry January or sober October, or even just deciding on, say, 3 or 4 alcohol-free days each week. What I find so appealing about this personally is its flexibility. It fits into your life. It doesn't demand some huge overhaul. And the main aim is to become more aware of your drinking. And importantly, to start feeling those positive effects pretty quickly. Now, why is this approach gaining so much traction? I think there's some really solid reasons. First off, it just feels doable, right? The idea of completely giving up alcohol can feel overwhelming for many. But just saying, I'm going to take a break for a bit, that feels much more manageable. It also doesn't necessarily mean hiding away from your social life. You still go out, still see friends, even if they happen to be drinking. But what really grabs people's attention are the quick wins. We're talking about sleeping better, having more sustained energy, maybe that mental fog lifting. These you might have already experienced on an alcohol-free night or are hoping to achieve more consistently. And beyond those initial benefits, taking these intentional breaks really encourages a deeper understanding of your own habits. When you consciously step away from alcohol, you start to notice its actual effects on you. You're the good and the bad. And what's interesting is that this increased self-awareness can pave the way for healthier habits in the long run. By actively choosing not to drink for periods, you might find those habitual cravings start to lessen over time. It's not really about forcing anything. It's more about creating a space where a different relationship with alcohol can develop more naturally. And this isn't just based on what people are saying anecdotally. There's actually some compelling research behind the benefits of these breaks. Even short periods of abstinence allow your body to start that recovery process. Think about your liver, for instance. A study done back in 2018, it looked at people participating in dry January, and it found that after just 1 month, they showed significant improvement to liver function. Specifically, the study noted reductions in certain enzymes, ALT and AST, which are key indicators of liver stress. That really underscores how quickly the body can begin to heal. It's pretty amazing. Plus, participants also saw better blood sugar levels and cholesterol levels too. That's a pretty powerful takeaway. Just a month can lead to measurable improvements. Then we have the sleep factor, which I know is a big one for so many people. Alcohol really disrupts our sleep cycles, especially that crucial REM sleep. That's where most of our dreaming happens, and it's key to feeling truly rested. Even a relatively small amount of alcohol can lead to more restless nights, and that groggy feeling the next day. We've all been there, right? What people often report during alcohol breaks is, falling asleep more easily, staying asleep through the night, and waking up feeling genuinely refreshed. It's amazing the difference addressing just that one area can make to your overall well-being. Another significant benefit that often comes up is a reduction in anxiety. See, alcohol has this complex impact on the brain chemicals that regulate our mood and stress levels, particularly things called GABA and glutamate. Initially, alcohol increases GABA, which has a calming effect, sure, but as it metabolizes, it leads to this rebound effect, less GABA, more glutamate, which is excitatory. And that contributes to that anxious feeling we sometimes get after drinking, maybe the next day. Taking even just a few days off can allow these brain chemicals to rebalance, often leading to a greater sense of calm, reduced irritability, and increased emotional stability. There was even a review that highlighted how cutting back on alcohol is linked to improved mood and resilience, particularly for those who experience anxiety related to their alcohol consumption. What I also find really interesting is how taking these intentional breaks can help us break free from those automatic habits. They're the ones we can easily fall into. So many of us might reach for a drink out of pure routine. The glass of wine after work, the beer while watching TV, whatever it is. By intentionally choosing not to drink, we create an opportunity, a pause, a chance to ask ourselves, do I really want this right now, or am I just doing this out of habit? This interruption of the usual pattern builds awareness, and often people find themselves naturally drinking less overall without a huge amount of conscious effort. It's really about creating that space for a different choice to emerge. And let's not forget the physical perks that can come with these breaks. Even partial abstinence from alcohol can lead to a range of improvements. We're talking about the potential for, say, lower blood pressure, more stable energy levels throughout the day, improved digestion, and maybe even some help with weight management. Research has shown that alcohol can have an impact on things like brain volume and metabolism, even in individuals who might be considered moderate drinkers. So in many ways, reducing your alcohol intake, even just for periods, really can mean more for your long-term physical well-being. Now, it's important to acknowledge that it's not always, smooth sailing. There can definitely be challenges that come up when you try intermittent sobriety. Some people might find themselves maybe overdoing it a bit on their on days. Others might feel a sense of guilt if they slip up or break a streak they were aiming for. Social pressures and those deeply ingrained routines can also make it feel tricky at times. Let's be real. And sometimes, it can be a bit frustrating if you don't see the results you're hoping for immediately. But the key thing to keep in mind here is that consistency tends to be more important than absolute perfection. Think of it like building any new habit or skill, like building a muscle. The more you practice taking those breaks, the easier and more natural it tends to become over time. So how can you actually make intermittent sobriety work for you in a sustainable way? It really comes down to finding an approach that fits your life, your rhythm. Maybe start by choosing a pattern that feels manageable. For example, deciding to go alcohol-free from Monday to Thursday. You could also use a dry month, like January or October, as a really interesting opportunity for self-discovery. Not as some kind of test you can fail, right? But as a chance to really tune into how you feel without alcohol. Experiment with finding enjoyable non-alcoholic alternatives. There are so many great options now. Sparkling waters, interesting teas, sophisticated mocktails, lots to explore. And I think one of the most helpful things you can do is to actually track how you're feeling. Keep an eye on your energy levels throughout the day, your mood, the quality of your sleep, your ability to focus. This helps you identify the personal benefits you're experiencing, which can be a really powerful motivator to keep going. And again, just be kind to yourself throughout the process. It's about making progress, not about achieving some unrealistic ideal. One aspect that sometimes gets overlooked is how these alcohol-free periods allow your body to actually, rebuild and replenish. Regular alcohol consumption can deplete certain important nutrients. Vitamin B1 is a key one. It plays a really vital role in our energy levels and mental clarity. You don't suddenly need to become obsessed with taking supplements or anything like that. But it's good to be aware that those alcohol-free days give your brain and body a chance to get back into balance. Simple things like eating well, making sure you're getting enough sleep, staying properly hydrated, they all really support this natural rebalancing process. So who is this approach really for? Who might benefit? I think it's for anyone who's curious about maybe reducing their alcohol intake without completely giving it up. Do you find yourself participating in dry challenges? This is definitely relevant. It's also for those of you who are social drinkers, but sometimes experience those not so great after effects, maybe feeling consistently tired or mentally foggy or a bit anxious, and you're wondering if alcohol might be playing a role in that. And ultimately, it's for anyone who's looking for realistic, non-judgmental ways to kind of reset their relationship with alcohol and feel a bit more in control of how they feel day to day. To bring this all together, intermittent sobriety isn't about striving for some impossible standard of perfect abstinence. Not at all. It's really about intentionally creating some space. Space to observe more clearly how alcohol truly affects you, and space to experience the genuine benefits that come from giving your body and mind a break. You really don't have to make a permanent commitment to see positive changes. Often, it's just about hitting that pause button and paying attention to what happens next. So I want you to consider this. How might even a small intentional pause in your alcohol consumption allow your body and mind to reset? What might you discover about your own relationship with alcohol just by experimenting with an alcohol-free period, even if it's just for a few days? Thanks for exploring this with me today. That's a wrap for today's episode. If you got something out of this, do me a quick favor, leave a rating and review on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It helps keep the show going and would mean the world to me. Got ideas, comments, or questions? Shoot me an email at mike@trycloud9.com. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're looking for extra support, check out Cloud9, makers of Daily Restore, a once-a-day supplement to support your body from alcohol's effects, and Rise and Unwind AM/PM, a 24-hour combo to curb cravings, balance mood, and improve sleep when taking a break. Go to trycloud9.com and use the code PODCAST to save 15% on your next order. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.